Okay, welcome to your Brain Meat Body class for today. This is Radical Ribs, also called Contain Your Container. I couldn't decide, so we're going with both. So what your rib cage is doing is going to be affecting the way your pelvis and your hips and your head are moving. So today's all about keeping this container of your rib cage stacked right on top of your pelvis. So you can imagine that your ribs have like a spotlight in them and they're shining down right on top of the pelvis. What can happen is sometimes we can, in lieu of moving our hip, it might have some tightness in it, we'll compensate by moving in our ribs. So we're gonna contain these guys today. So with that being said, you need your brain, your body, a mat. You don't even need a mat, but if you have a mat, that's good. And then we will be on our knees in a moment. So if you want a blanket or extra cushion under your knees, you can have that. And also when we come down to our backs, if you find that your chin really juts up to the ceiling, you can always bring a little blanket or a little pillow underneath your head, okay? So you might want to block as well. We are going to come on down to our backs and have the block handy within arm's reach. And let's get going. Okay. So arrive here on your back and connect to your triple S. So let your legs go a little side to side and feel the weight in the sacrum at the base of your spine. Your low back has its neutral arc off the floor. Your shoulder blades or your scapulas are connected to the ground, and then the curviest part of your skull resting on the floor or its little bolster support. Grab for your block and get it the skinny or the medium way between your thighs so you get a nice grip with your inner thigh muscles, turning those on, feeding into your pelvic core, your pelvic floor, which is the base of your core. And then take your hands to your thighs, start to press them away, lift from the pit of the belly, lift the hips off the ground, reach the tailbone towards your feet, keeping the low back nice and long. And then bring your hands, the heels of your hands, to your low ribs. Let your fingers point down towards your pelvis and contain the ribs by giving a little pressure, drawing into the body, feeling everything kind of suctioning in towards the spine. And then keep these ribs contained as you reach your arms right up overhead, flexing at the wrists. Take your left hand to your index right finger and pull it down towards your face, keeping your right arm straight. Take a breath in, and then switch it. Pull your middle finger, exhaling. Take it to your ring finger, pull it down, and take it to your pinky and pull it down. And then pull all four fingers down, stretching into the palm, the forearm. This is so good to do, especially if you work at computers, work with your hands a lot. And then switch, grab the index finger of your left hand, pull it down, and the middle, and the ring. Keep gripping the block with your thighs and the pinky. Let the heat build in your glutes. Pull all four fingers down. Take another breath into every direction of your ribs. And out, feeling the muscles around your ribs and core draw in as you breathe out. And then bring the heels of the hands back to the fronts of the ribs. Take another breath in. And then as you exhale, feel everything consolidating in. Keep the low ribs drawing in as you tiptoe your spine all the way down. Very nice. Okay. Set the block, or actually take the block the skinny way between the knees. And then hands are going to come behind the head to cup the skull. Draw the elbows in towards one another. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, pull the low ribs down, lift from the breastbone, from the sternum, lift the shoulder blades off the floor. Take your left hand to your low ribs and press down and in, lift a little bit higher. Hand behind the head, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift, pull in and down, lift off the shoulder blades. Take your right hand to the low ribs and press down, get a little higher off the shoulder blades. Hand behind the head, inhale and lower, keep squeezing the block. Exhale and lift. Now take your left hand around to your right ribs and then right beneath the shoulder blade. pull the skin, like draw it in and get a little bit higher off that right shoulder blade. Hand behind the head, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift. Keep the left hand where it is. Take the right hand around to the side, left side of your body, and then try and drag that skin in. Get a little higher off the left shoulder blade. Feel that deeper in your core. Hand behind the head, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift. Do this again. Take the left hand around to the right ribs and then slide the skin, get a little higher off the right shoulder blade, and then let the right elbow flare out to the right, staying off the shoulder blade. Woo! Elbow back in, hand behind the head, inhale, lower. Oh yes, exhale, draw in and down, lift. Right hand around to the left side body, draw that skin in, get a little higher, and then left elbow starts to flare out to the left, stay off the left shoulder blade. Oh yes. Elbow back in, hand behind the head, inhale and lower. One more on each side, you guys got it. Exhale and lift. Left hand around to the right side, draw in, right elbow starts to flare, and then extend the whole arm out to the right. Yee! Hand behind the head, left hand behind the head, back to center, inhale, lower. Feeling it, exhale and lift. Right hand around to the left ribs, get a little higher, left elbow out to the left, and then extend at the elbow, reach it. Hand behind the head, other hand behind the head, back to center, inhale, and release. Awesome job. Take the block out, and then let your feet get as wide as your mat. Let your knees fall to your right. You're gonna lift off the left sit bone a little bit. Squeeze around that left sit bone, a little engagement in the glute, and then take the right hand to these front ribs, contain them. So don't let them push up towards the ceiling, draw them in. Use the hand to give you some feedback. Take your left arm into a goalpost out to the left, and take your gaze to the left if that feels okay on your neck. Breathe here. Drive the inside of your left foot down into the floor. Feel your left front hip get a little stretch. And then come up through center with the knees. The knees will fall over to the left. Your right butt will start to pick up a little bit. You're gonna squeeze around that sit bone just slightly. Drive the inside of the right foot down. Take your right arm into that goalpost shape out to the right. Take your left hand to the front low ribs and contain them. And then option to take your gaze to the right. Breathe here. Oh yeah, okay, back to center. And let's come on up, use this heat that we've built in our core to help us move in a little bit bigger ways now. So block is off to the side. We're coming onto our hands and knees. We've got the heels of the hands right underneath the shoulder and knee right underneath the hip or even just a little forward so you can draw in the low belly. And then think about skull, shoulder blades, and sacrum lining up with one another. Feel the front body has to turn on to do that. And we'll do some barrel rolls here. So letting the ribs get a little heavier to the floor, letting go of the belly just a little bit, and then shifting the weight over to the left a little, and then lifting the whole container of the ribs up towards the sky, moving through center, shifting over to the right knee a little bit, letting the ribs drop back down. So we're just rolling from side to side, pushing the floor away, lifting the ribs up, and then letting them sink down. So a barrel roll from side to side, feeling how the ribs impact the pelvis, the shoulder blades, and then go the other way. Push the floor away, straight arms, lift the whole container of the ribs up, down, and around. Let it feel good. Oh yes, okay. And then back to center. Find that neutral position where you can feel that your shoulder blades are on your back ribs. And then start to push the floor away more. Feel your upper back start to round a little bit. Tuck your toes and then lift from the pit of the belly, the pelvis, up and back. Push the floor away. Feel that you have equal weight in your hands and your feet. Relax the back of your neck. And then just pedal your feet out here, getting into the hamstrings a little bit, letting one heel get heavy as the opposite knee bends. Good, and then walk the hands back to the feet, sitting into the heels. Bring the hands to the low ribs, start to stand up. Watch if you have a tendency to push your rib cage forward when you stand up. Keep it contained and walk to the front of your mat using these hands as feedback for a moment. And then set your arms down to your sides. Stand up nice and tall. Feel yourself lined up, so ears are right over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over knees, over heels. And we'll inhale, we'll reach our arms forward and then up without letting the ribs push forward. So contain the ribs with the strength of the core. Start to hinge into the hips to get low. Hands come forward and down. And then we'll sit the right foot back, lower the right knee and the top of the right foot and come on up. We've got the hip right over the knee and we'll roll the shoulders. So feel that again, you're not pushing the ribs forward, you're containing them with your core. And then we're finding some great mobility with the shoulder blades sliding and gliding on the rib cage. Good, and then hands come forward and down, front foot moves back. Get yourself in a kneeling plank here. Lift the front body to the back body, engage around the sit bones, and then resist the floor as you lower with control. Untuck the toes. Inhale, draw the hands back, lift the heart. Exhale, come down a little bit. And then tuck the toes again. Feel the front ribs draw into the body, and then push the floor away, lift into your downward facing dog. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, step your right foot as far forward as you can without picking up your hands. Left knee down, top of left foot. Come on up. Drag your front heel towards your back knee and then roll your shoulders. So nice firm base, not punching the ribs. And hands come forward and down. Step your back foot to meet the front foot. Sit back into your butt. Inhale, reach forward and up. Right back into it. Exhale, sit back into your hips, get low. This time we'll step the left foot back, lower the left knee, but not the left toes, and come on up. We'll take our right hand into a fist and bring it to the left glute, and that's going to be feedback to keep the left glute fired up. Left arm will reach forward and up. And then, as an even arc with the whole spine, maybe take a little bit of a back bend, but keep this left glute on so you don't dump into your low back. So it might not be a big move, it should be a big feeling. Take another breath in, and then exhale, start to come down with your left hand. Now you're gonna lean into the left hand, and you can always have a block underneath your hand if the floor feels far. You're gonna take this back left foot and kickstand it off to the left for a little bit of a support. And then this right foot is gonna move to the back of the mat. So toes are pointing to the long edge of the mat. And then we start to backstroke the top arm. So like you're taking off a shirt, bending the elbow as it comes up overhead, and then think about what your ribs are doing. They still are spotlighting right over your pelvis, even though you're at a different angle, and you're not letting them push forward, containing. And maybe let the left ear get heavy towards the left shoulder, and then we'll reach the right arm up, and then for a moment we'll lift the right leg. So this is a modified side plank, big work for the hips. And now we're gonna step this flying foot all the way back to the top of the mat for side angle. So this flying arm comes onto the right thigh. Look down at the floor, get the left foot behind you, lift off that knee, and then spin the foot so that the toes are now pointing to the other long edge. Reach the left arm up. Extend the left arm over your ear, getting a side stretch. And then inhale up through center, you're through warrior two. Left arm around your back, front hand flips, and reverse your warrior. Breathe into your right ribs here. And then come up through center. Straighten this front leg. Let those toes point now in the same direction as the other toes towards the long edge of the mat. Bring your heels of the hands to the front ribs again. And then side lunging, side to side. Keeping those front ribs contained. Keeping them lifting towards the back ribs and sitting back into your butt. Working the legs here, working the core. And then when you're leaning towards the front of your mat again, bring your hands down into a downward facing dog. Take a breath in every direction of your ribs here. And then on your next exhale, step your left foot forward, lower your right knee, but not the toes, and come on up. Take your left hand into a fist, get it on your right glute, reach your right arm forward and then up. And then in unison, it's a nice even arc as you start to lean back, keeping that right glute on, opening through the heart a little bit, getting some extension in your spine, and then inhale, come up using your core. Right hand comes down onto a block or the floor. Lean into that right hand, kickstand your right foot more behind you off the mat, and then left foot back to the back of the mat for a gate pose. Feel your glutes still nice and lit up. Left arm reaches up, and then we can take this back stroke. So it comes in front of the face and then back and around. Maybe let the right ear find the right shoulder if that feels good for the neck. Feels great for me. Take in whatever view, this beautiful view with me. This beautiful C-stack. One more time, letting it come up and over. And then reaching the arm up towards the sky, and then maybe letting this left leg have some air time, feeling the strength in your hips, keeping the ribs spotlighting towards the pelvis, and then stepping this left foot all the way back to the front of the mat. Left forearm comes onto that thigh. The right foot moves behind you, lift off the right knee, and then spin the foot. So you're in a warrior, 2 legs now, side angle. Right arm reaches up. And then flip the palm to face forward, reach the arm over. So you don't have a ton of weight. You should be able to lift this bottom arm. So it's all about the core. Inhale, bring it up through center. Warrior 2, you can adjust yourself any amount. And then feel ribs spotlighting. Take your right arm around your low back, flip your front palm and reverse. Oh yes, come up through center, straighten the front leg, turn those toes, and then heels of the hands to the front ribs. As you sit the butt back, the knees soft, you lean forward and keep the ribs contained with the heels of the hands. Now keep your mind's eye there with the ribs, but option to extend your arms out, getting a little more work through the shoulders and the core. And then back to the front of the mat into your downward facing dog. Take one more breath. Let it out your mouth. Lower to your knees and come on to your back. Making your way to Shavasana. You can always have support underneath your knees. You could also take your feet wide and let them knock into each other. But bring the hands again onto your low ribs. Just connecting to this space one more time. Feeling your container and all that is inside of it, keeping you alive. Finding some gratitude for your body, for your breath here, for your ribs. And then taking as long as you can here to let your body absorb your effort. Take a nice breath into your ribs and open your mouth, let it out. I hope this practice serves you well today. Namaste.